All right, and so let us move on to item number 7, comments from council members. If you would you be so kind as to raise a virtual hand, and I'll call on you. There we go. Thank you. Councilmember Medina.
Yes, well, we're going to get out of here early. It's nice to see that. I just wanted to remind everybody, I mean, we've been talking about COVID for a long time. You know, continue doing your best, wearing the mask, being careful, and we can still support our businesses. So I just want to make sure everybody just keeps on doing that and doing the right thing, and let's be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis.
Just wanted to remind everybody about the fall cleanup this weekend at the San Bruno City Hall parking lot. The entrance will be on El Camino. It's a maximum of 3 cubic feet of garbage, so it's few bags and maybe a refrigerator or an oven, etc. You'll be asked to drop off your own items into the appropriate bins or areas where that'll be dumped. And I think it's a great time for really to clean out your garages and think of things that we can get rid of, and instead of dumping them on the street, hopefully you can dump them at the appropriate place. And I look forward to hopefully coordinating with Ecology again. So thank you to Ecology for hosting this and doing it maybe a couple times a year. So thank you so much. And thank you to those council members, Medina and Salazar and Mayor Medina, for volunteering and helping out this weekend. I appreciate it.
Councilmember Mason, please.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to state that since we hadn't met and since these happened, I wanted to make sure I thanked staff and the council for our street closure. While I understand that the goal was not to have a fair-like atmosphere, I really appreciate the outreach to the business owners by the Chamber of Commerce. I also really appreciate the businesses that participated. I got so many comments from residents saying they hadn't been downtown in forever, and good and bad, right? Some of that was split into I can't believe how much it's deteriorated, and some of it was I can't believe how great the food is. But the important thing is that we really got people downtown, and good or bad, I think that it was a community event and people were in their groups and it looked like people were talking and having a good time. So I just wanted to really thank staff for putting that together. And then obviously business is open, so there was no need for further closures. I also wanted to thank everyone related to the opening of Florida Park. I was able to meet Audrey and just really want to give her a shout out during this meeting. I talked to her at Florida Park also, but also while in COVID, in comparison with the street closure, we've been able to really have some nice community events. The rock painting tables were really great. My kids loved them, put on by Park and Rec. The little goodie bags were just really intimate and I felt like very personal. I love that people painted their rocks and then they were encouraged to go onto San Bruno Rocks, the Facebook group, and post their rocks and then put them on this little river of rocks in Florida Park. And I've driven by a couple times. It's really nice to see the neighbors enjoying the park. So just thank you for getting everything moving. And I feel like a lot has happened given that we're in COVID, but there's been real efforts to try to bring our community together. So thank you.
And I did see Councilmember Davis's hand back up, so I just want to check.
Sorry, I completely forgot until Councilmember Mason mentioned the street closure. You know, we sat here at one of the meetings and talking about the preparation and what was needed for the street closure. And, we looked at cost and we looked at barricades and the need to protect our residents. And I'm just so glad that we have the dedicated staff that actually said, we need to do something to protect our citizens. And what they did, they actually put a police car and they blocked off San Mateo Avenue with 2 police officers. And they kept the residents or anybody who came into our city safe. And tragically, we've seen on numerous occasions in many different areas, not just in San Jose more recently, but in other communities outside of the Bay Area that have had serious incidents where people have driven and have endangered people that are sitting there enjoying a nice meal. So thank you for setting up something that we knew our residents can come down to and safely enjoy the outdoors. And to comment on Councilmember's comments, Mason, there were people who actually walked down and hadn't really gone down there much and went down and had a meal at one of the restaurants, whether it was, on the 400 block or the 500 block or the 600 block. So, I just think we as a community, and I don't like to talk too much about social media or what I do, but I put a comment out on social media the other night, and I just said that San Mateo Avenue really offers so many wonderful things, and we can talk about the dirty garbage cans or the graffiti newspaper racks and things that we know need to be replaced, but we really have a gem in a lot of ways, right? You can bank down there, you can get your laundry done down there, you can go to swimming lessons, which my kids all grew up at. You can get a great deli sandwich at one end of the block, at the other end of the block. You can get your coffee at Never Too Latte or at Starbucks. I mean, and the list goes on. And the amount of foods that we actually offer they're delicious places down there. So, San Mateo Avenue is a little gem. And let's not forget, a lot of people put in their hard-earned work and try to provide a meal and an opportunity to come in and buy some clothes, jewelry. There's a framing place for photos. So what I say to the community is check out your San Mateo Avenue. What are the businesses that are out there? Before you want to shop somewhere else, please think about eating in San Bruno and shopping in San Bruno. And no, it doesn't have the bouterie that I grew up as a little kid buying my shoes for back to school, but it has a lot of great opportunities. And what happened to San Mateo Avenue can get better. We as a council all agree we need to put funding in, and we need to provide some parking. We need to provide better signage. We need to improve our streets. We need to improve our lighting. We're all there. We need to make sure that fountains don't go broken for many years, that they get attention, they get the money and the sources to it. So I think we're moving in the right direction. And I say, you know what, chin up, we're doing a great job. And I think that it's a great place, downtown San Mateo Avenue. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Salazar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So two things. One, I wanted to mention that October, it recognizes a lot of different things, but one of the things that is recognized in October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I wanted to bring that up because it's something that was very prevalent as we started going into the shelter in place and people were in their homes, and we started hearing about a lot more cases of domestic violence, even right here in our community. And so I wanted to mention that it is something that's being recognized this month. And I wanted to also advise the public that the county does have a 24-hour domestic violence hotline that is available. Nobody should have to live in fear in their own home. They shouldn't have to fear their loved ones. And so I wanted to put that out there. The number for the hotline is 650-312-8515, and it's if anyone's interested, it's offered through the County of San Mateo's Human Services Division, and so I wanted to put that out there, and also to end on a happier note, I also wanted to acknowledge that we had a number of firefighters that were away helping our neighboring communities, and the city manager organized a quick little impromptu reception for them as they came back last week. And so a few of us were able to rush down there and welcome them home. And so I just wanted to put a little shout out there to our firefighters who are out there risking their lives, and we're happy to have them back home. That was it.
Thank you. And for me, three things. One is I was maybe because of COVID, but given the a privilege to go over to SFO, to the USO on September 29th. There was only 2 mayors that were asked because there was only so many folks that were allowed in the facility. But the mayor of San Mateo and I were privileged enough to go there, offer some remarks, which was Zoomed for the most part, as well as cut the ribbon to the new USO that had been done. It's just beautiful. And hearing and knowing all that's done 24/7 and by the volunteers. So they're always looking for folks that are volunteering and willing to, understanding what the COVID, they've taken precautions, the numbers are down, and there are a lot of precautions that are in the facility. The other item is today I offered opening remarks for the subcommittee on the gas, electric, and transportation safety. I was asked by Senator Hill's office to speak, where the members of that subcommittee, or Chairman Hill, his members, and then myself, and then it went into two different panels that basically were reflecting a gas safety retrospect a decade since San Bruno, and basically was hearing from all of those agencies, from the NTSB, the PG&E, the gas industry down south, and having every panel there and then being asked the questions to see what we've learned and what utilities are doing going forward. It was also important to note that, as most of us know, Senator Hill is terming out next month from Sacramento. And this was, for the last several years, this is his doing that brought this as a subcommittee of the Energy, Utilities, and Communications. And he's been doing this for several years. And the unfortunate thing is, once his term expires, this subcommittee will expire. So what I did do on behalf of the city was thank him for being there for us, for the community, and making the strides that we have as a community in the state of California and elsewhere to make sure that this doesn't happen anywhere ever again. But I did want to acknowledge that and thank the senator for all that he has done for our city and our community. Lastly, we also, Darcy Smith, her last day with the city of San Bruno is this Friday. And we, as the council and community, want to thank her for her efforts and her time and her passion and devotion to trying to keep us on track, keep the city going, and trying to manage and keep all the balls in the air going with the various projects and moving things forward. So, Darcy, on behalf of the council and San Bruno, thank you, and we wish you the very best. And I bet you we will be seeing you in the future. So with that, I want to thank the council and the staff, and I'm happy to go ahead and adjourn this meeting to the next regular city council meeting, which will be held on October 27th, 2020 at 7 o'clock, meeting adjourned at 9:45. Thank you, and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.